Nerdly Kingdom, busting names and taking nuts.
Yeah.
Since 2017. The scene in Black Panther where Killmonger throws T'Challa off the cliff had me like...
One, two, three. Boo!
Hey!
Welcome to the Nerdly Kingdom podcast.
Wow.
I am Toto, also known as Brad, or the reverse of that.
I'm Lori, also known as Loriarty.
I'm William, also known as William, also known as... I don't know if I even have another nickname on this podcast because it's been so long since we've recorded.
You don't exist on social media anymore.
He
don't.
doesn't reel.
He doesn't reel.
I doesn't real. I'm not a real person.
Wow. That's probably the calmest intro we've ever had.
We've grown in the last 2
Awesome.
months since we've last...
Since my computer caught fire and I'm borrowing my girlfriend's.
Two
Computer.
illnesses, two
computer
burned
meltdowns.
computers, literal meltdowns.
And
Hey, only one of them melted.
a shitty work schedule later, we finally together in a room.
Through no work of
record a
our own.
podcast.
It's
I've-
just happened.
I've been on vacation, so I have
Yeah.
no game plan. So we're going to talk about things until we stop. And that'll be the podcast.
That's basically
I suppose that's normally what the podcast is, but even more so
It's
than
been
usual.
so long, we've forgotten how to podcast.
How do I? Is this podcasting? Am I doing it? Oh, I didn't hit the record button.
Now this is podcasting.
No, I didn't. I actually did hit the record button. That was
You-
that was a joke.
That wasn't funny. You scared
We've been
me.
recording for 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that's the podcast,
That's
you
the
guys.
podcast, you
Bye.
guys.
See ya.
Bye. See you next time.
Is us talking about stuff and me talking about my IMDb page.
Mostly it was you bad mouthing Joss Whedon.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, but that's
I do
that's
that
a
for
normal.
free.
We do this for free.
I'm gonna be out. You'll find me in Gadsden on a street corner with a sign. Pay me $5. I'll talk shit about Joss Whedon.
I'll pay you $5 to let
I'll
you
go to
listen
that
me
comic
talk
book
about
shop that's down there and just stand out
it.
there.
Be like Jack's Films. Just go to like a con and have a bullhorn. Start talking about Joss Whedon.
Good. I'm gonna go to Comic Con with a bullhorn. Joss Whedon sucks.
Do
Please
you like
don't.
the do you
Dressed
like
up
the,
as Rocket Raccoon.
No, you should dress up like the protesters who are like, you're gonna burn in hell for liking stuff, and look like that,
Yes.
except be like,
Dude,
Joss Whedon sucks.
If you go to a con doing something like that, you should wear like.
Fox knew what they were doing when they canceled Firefly.
No!
Dang, no, you should go to Comic
That was
Con.
I'd get chased
mean.
out.
Go to Comic Con wearing Ray's outfit and have a sign that just says "You are not a real Star Wars fan." That's it. That's just.
Ooh, yes.
Anyways, that we got off subject.
Shit, I'd badmouth the
Can you get off subject if there wasn't a subject?
I suppose
Just yet.
not, but
You cannot play with that Rubik's Cube during
it's
this.
so loud.
It's loud. Just, you hear nothing just...
New Rubik's Cube.
I can't have toys on my desk while we're doing this. Get rid of the dice.
I'm gonna hold the battery.
Okay, you can hold the battery. It's dead. You can lick it all you want.
Tasty, metallic, shocky taste.
Shockingly metallic. So,
Shockberry.
since we've been gone, what's the?
Since we've been gone.
I was almost.
That
about to
would
do
be a
that.
cute little cereal. Little positives and negatives, and it's like strawberry flavored.
Huh?
Like shock berries, like an actual cereal.
Do you like strawberry? Well, how about raw berry?
Anyways, so
Is that like a Count Chocula
what's happened?
character?
What's happened in the time we've been gone?
I've moved.
I don't care about you. This isn't a podcast about William. You can pay for that yourself.
Our intro says for William, so
It does.
He's right. Dang it. I was
You
about to
got
say
us. We've been bamboozled. We bamboozled
I
ourselves.
had the flu for a short spiel at the end of January.
I'm gonna edit half of this out.
Brad had the flu.
Blad,
I didn't have
Blad
the
had
flu.
the flu.
Blad.
I had a stomach bug that messed up my stomach so bad that after I wasn't sick, I still couldn't eat anything. It was...
I've been the actual embodiment of those memes with like cans of Lysol just go everywhere.
That's how Maggie was the week I was sick.
That's good.
It was like she Lysol every fucking thing.
Well, see, like a couple of weeks ago at work, I was walking around spraying everything, and I looked at them because they were like coughing, and I was like, "Do you guys want the flu? No. Do you want the flu again? No. Do you want strep throat or stomach virus? No. Do you want your lungs to have more lemony fresh cleaner than actual air?" And they're like, "What? No." And I was like,
too bad.
I was like, wrong answer.
Yeah, no,
But
it was
what?
awful.
Shape of Water came out. Black Panther came out.
Annihilation came out yesterday.
What's Annihilation?
Alex Garland, the guy that made Ex Machina, his new movie.
Oh, cool! I didn't know
That's
that.
what I was
Greatest
gonna go see
Showman
today,
is
but
still in
The thing is, it's in theaters, but it's also coming to Netflix, I believe, in a
cool.
week.
Oh.
So
So that means I could probably find it on the internet somewhere right now.
yeah, maybe. The thing is,
If there's a digital version, I can already find that movie.
I've been telling myself I just want to wait for it to come out on Netflix, but I also really want to see it on the big screen because it's supposed to be like visually spectacular, and so plus I've been really
As
excited
all
about
good
it.
movies should be. I feel like there was something else we were going to talk about. Cloverfield, if we get to it. You could probably talk an hour just on Cloverfield.
Yeah, I've got a lot of theories about Cloverfield.
No, we might do that in a different podcast. But I guess let's just jump into. Actually, you want to talk about anything newsy? Like
I love that musical. And
you say that every time, and I still don't know what you're
It's
talking
got Christian
about.
Bale in it.
the movie does, yeah. It's a great
Cool.
musical.
Jesus, this is the worst part.
That's a song from New
I know I say this every time, but this is the worst podcast ever.
Belch.
Belt.
Now I'm making a musical called Belch
It's gonna be the next short.
with an
We'll put it-
exclamation mark.
We'll put it on
be
your
my next short
IMDb.
film.
Can I star in it?
So it's all.
Yeah.
I want to be a silent.
Are all of
character
your
for that
short
one.
films just gonna be onomatopoeias? You're gonna have shh and
no,
belch.
that was
and-
an accident.
Ah!
But let's talk
My
about.
next one is a what temper is a adjective?
I don't know what.
Temper.
Yes, let's talk about
Well, you
William's
can
next thing he's
have
gonna
a
film.
temper, so it'd kind of be like a noun.
So,
Anyway,
back, changing the subject for the 15th
I'm
time.
gonna make a movie called Wow.
Joss Whedon left Batgirl.
He did.
Joss
thank
Whedon
God.
left Batgirl, citing that his script was not up to par. He had a weak story, and I'm
At least
glad
this time
that
it wasn't the
he's left.
fans
Did
that
he
had
have-
to tell him that.
Did he have to leave because he wanted another CGI'd off mustache? You think?
I was trying to come up with a rebuttal joke. I couldn't think of one.
What can you say to that?
No, I think he
Let's-
just had a bunch of scenes where like Batman falls in on Batgirl's boobs and
And
someone said
some weird
"Nah."
one-liner about it.
Joss Whedon's probably the same person that Paul Dini is. I think it's Paul Dini that kind of has a weird obsession with Batman-Batgirl relationship.
Mhm.
And because in the Killing Joke animated film that came out a couple years ago, there's a scene where they Batgirl and Batman do it on a rooftop, and it's just completely unnecessary and gross.
And was that in the comic or the manga? What? Not a manga. What was it? Graphic novel?
No, it wasn't.
See, why would you go out of your way to add that if it wasn't in the original?
And I'm like, it's a cartoon, so that means
It's an
that
R-rated cartoon. though,
Yeah, that
so.
means he forced people to art that.
To art that.
The thing is with the Killing Joke was like the first 30 minutes of the Killing Joke movie is an original story revolving around Batgirl. Because, the Killing Joke is famous for the scene where Joker shoots Batgirl and paralyzes her.
Mhm.
So they wanted to add more Batgirl to the movie so that audiences would kind of sympathize with that more.
How did
Because-
that work?
It didn't. It was awful. I hated it. It was... I mean, thematically, I liked how it connected because, it is the Batman Joker story. And the Batgirl prologue has her up against a criminal, like just a typical criminal who has a obsession with her, and so she can't get any joy out of fighting him because it's basically him being like, "Ooh, I love your kick," or like, "Man, you're so strong." Like he's one of those types,
Mhm.
and then he gets arrested at the end, and he's like, "Call me Batgirl," something like that, like one of those obsessive types.
Mhm.
And thematically, it fit because it gave Batgirl her Joker, so to speak. But at the same time, I thought it was completely unnecessary because Barbara Gordon's not the point of the Killing Joke. Batman and Joker is.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like the prologue. This is now a Killing Joke podcast.
Like,
Whatever worked.
I will say that was Mark Hamill's last hurrah as Joker, and boy, did he bring it.
oh, so he did voice Joker in that?
Mm-hmm. It was... The actual Killing Joke part of that movie was great. The prologue was garbage.
Cool.
Mark Hamill, you've got a special place in my heart. As I've said previously in podcasts.
And it's great because, like, hey, he's famous for being Luke and the Joker. And now he's not the Joker and he died off as Luke.
He's finally getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, though.
Oh, that's cool.
He deserves it.
He's had a star in our hearts.
He's a star in our wars.
There's not a lot more we can say about Joss Whedon leaving back. Oh, actually, yes, there is. Wasn't there the thing about someone?
Yeah, Roxane Gay, the author,
Yes.
has offered to rewrite the Joss Whedon script to DC.
Cool. I
And
don't know who that is.
they've taken her up on it, from what I've understood.
I haven't read any of her fiction. I'm reading a collection of her essays right now, and even just writing a collection of her own thoughts, because you think typically essays, you think, oh, but like just collections of her own thoughts, she's fantastic at writing and really engaging. And I'm always going to be a bit more excited about seeing a female writer write for female characters, because they're going to get the character a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not saying that dudes can't write women, because it's happened and it does happen, but women understand women, you know?
One of the big reasons why Meg on Family Guy is now such a shitty character, and why she gets so much abuse, because the male writers have said, we don't know how to write a teenage girl, so we just make her the butt of jokes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm down for... I've never heard of her till today. And I was surprised that when I first heard of her, reading that article before we started podcasting, you had one of her books in your bag.
It's like William goes to tell me about it, and I literally get up from the table and just walk off, and I come back holding the book I'm currently reading that was her.
Fun.
But I want to get some of her fiction books, especially if she is going to be the writer.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm especially glad that these production companies have become more encouraged and more confident in female superhero movies.
Yes.
Since Wonder Woman, and they're actively seeking out new ideas for new characters, and also actually seeking out women to create those characters. And I mean, nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong at all.
William's wisdom for the day. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's like that sounded like a Brule's rule. Girls, write for girls. Women writing for women. There's nothing wrong with that. From Tim and Eric. Whatever.
No. I respect myself too much to watch Tim and Eric. What's wrong with
William
you?
has no respect for himself.
I hate Tim and Eric. The only thing good about Tim and Eric is John C. Reilly.
He plays Dr. Steve Brule, yeah.
Yeah.
Love John C.
That's why I didn't know what you're talking about. Like,
ooh.
What did I watch it?
Speaking
Walk Hard.
Of John C. Reilly, he and Will Ferrell are going to be starring in a Sherlock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was just waiting for it getting engaged.
That's the weird thing now, is that I feel like Will Ferrell's still relevant only because of John C. Reilly. He's definitely the stronger of the two, because I love John C. Reilly.
Well, Will Ferrell's gotten a lot more into just like writing and producing stuff.
Yeah, he really has. But the movies they're in together.
Unlike someone else that was kind of the equivalent of Will Ferrell at the time, his writing, Will Ferrell stuff is good as opposed to that other person's who shall remain nameless.
I'm not picking up the hints. No.
Yeah, I'm not picking up the hint.
Seth Rogen.
Oh, Seth Rogen's actually funny though.
But I don't like anything he makes. Where me and Alicia,
you didn't like Pineapple Express?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, Pineapple Express is...
Me and Alicia were watching...
Pineapple Express is good.
I don't remember what we were watching. We were watching something. It was hilarious. And it was like written and produced by Will Ferrell. It's like, well, okay, cool. I can't remember what it was, but it was hilarious.
I still like some of Will Ferrell stuff. But John C. Reilly is my favorite. I watched Walk Hard recently, which had John C. Reilly in it, and it was just fucking hilarious.
I still, whenever...
So mad for not having watched that
Whenever I hear
movie
John
earlier.
C. Reilly, I always think about Drunk History. Because he was Tesla. This is hell. I'm in hell.
It's funny, though, anytime I think of John C. Reilly, he's so popular because of comedies now.
Mm-hmm.
I always think of Boogie Nights.
I haven't seen that.
Because he's a character in Boogie Nights. I always think of that movie first anytime I think of John C. Reilly.
Yeah, so off subject there.
What are we talking about?
This is now an homage to John C. Reilly.
I'm just gonna cut out these chunks and just post them to Facebook. It's little nuggets that we had to cut out because we're terrible at focusing.
Our ode to John C. Reilly.
Thank you, John C. Reilly.
You're a star in our hearts.
And a star in our wars. Okay, news. Okay, Sony.
Wait, what was the original thing? It was John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. What?
We're in a Sherlock Holmes. They're making a
Yeah,
Sherlock
they're
Holmes.
doing a
Sherlock
Sherlock
Holmes.
Holmes. Yeah.
Comedy Sherlock
apparently
Holmes, older.
Yeah.
I'm
Cool,
excited
I guess.
for it. It seems interesting.
It's I've watched one Sherlock parody movie, and it's Without a Clue, and that movie is hilarious. It's got Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley in it.
Oh, wow.
Michael Caine plays Sherlock Holmes. Ben Kingsley plays Watson. His Watson, I feel, is very similar to Martin Freeman's.
Mm-hmm.
But Sherlock Holmes is an idiot. He doesn't know anything. He's an actor. Ben Kingsley's the one that solves everything. And then
funny.
Sherlock Holmes is just I solved it by doing this and this. And they end up getting really mixed up, and Sherlock has to try and save them from Moriarty, who is played by the same guy who plays Ivan Ooze in Power Rangers. It's a hilarious movie.
Detectives.
Detectives.
Okay, Sony Pictures has been attempting to make their own little spin-off franchises apart from Spider-Man since the MCU deal happened. So they're working on a Venom movie. They're working on a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie. They're working on a Kraven the Hunter movie. Which, whatever. Take all the cool villains away from Spider-Man and make separate movies out of them.
I didn't recognize half of the people you just said.
Same. I knew Venom and I knew Black Cat.
But the Silver Sable and Black Cat movie today was announced that it has been delayed indefinitely by Sony. Hopefully that means that it's not happening, because I would actually like to see them in the MCU, because I feel like the MCU doesn't have enough female.
So what you're saying
characters.
is now that Disney's buying Fox, Sony's going to be the one that cancels everything?
Uh-oh.
But Venom movie has been in the works. Have either of y'all seen the trailer for the Venom movie?
I have not watched it. I heard it was boring.
It's very generic.
The trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was interesting just because they didn't want to show off Venom too much.
They didn't show Venom at all.
Yeah, no, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just was it a trailer or was it a teaser?
It was a little bit of both.
I was gonna say, if it's the first thing to drop, it could technically just be the teaser.
Which they just they finished filming not too long ago.
Oh, no. So
but my confidence in this movie has been non-existent since they announced it, because I
am completely apathetic about this whole situation.
I'm kind of burnt out on the way Sony's been handling Spider-Man.
I like Venom, but I saw the Spider-Man movie with Dorothy McGuire, and I just have no hope for Venom ever again.
I wish that instead of trying to do Spider-Man stuff now, especially now that Marvel has it, and I wish that Sony would do another Ghostbusters movie. I know it'll probably never happen because it wasn't received well.
Yeah, that'd be a thing. Ghostbusters would be a good franchise for Sony.
It's funny. I love the first
there was
one.
nothing against it. It just wasn't. It came out when I was really busy.
And then the after credits cut kind of alludes to a second movie,
A sequel.
Maybe.
That's kind of the thing for me is I'm not too big of a Ghostbusters fan to really care. So, I'm just not.
Well, Ghostbusters is one of those that everyone says has a sequel, but it doesn't have a sequel.
I don't even remember anything that
Netflix.
happened in the second one.
There's no second Ghostbusters movie.
Okay, well, they're bringing the first and non-existent second Ghostbusters movie to Netflix.
There may be credits for it,
1st.
and people may say it exists. It doesn't exist.
but I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. I don't know if I will.
It's kind of like the second Mortal Kombat movie.
I feel like
Only the
one
fight
day
scenes exist, the rest of the
before
movie
I
doesn't
die
exist.
in my old age, I'll probably see it.
I have it now, like
Really?
digital. I have the extended, which I personally, the first one I ever saw was the extended, and the extended one's better just because it's more scenes, you know?
I know, they gotta stop doing that. Like, they keep cutting movies short so they
Well,
can show more things.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. It's
lot of
still
comedies
really
do that
good.
'cause
Like
they
the
have
first
alt
one,
takes 'cause
I can
improv
see why they cut the
encouraged.
scenes they did because they
Yeah.
weren't super necessary scenes. Like there's a whole part where Chris Hemsworth's character is like he ends up possessed and he gets like he's in a standoff and he starts causing everyone to dance. In the extended one, the entire dance scene is there.
Oh.
In the cut one, it's not there at all.
It's just, I'm so sick of extended versions because, like, every DC movie is like, well, it was kind of bad, but the extended version makes more sense. It's like, that's not how you make a movie.
And
Like, if the movie doesn't make sense in theaters and you're like, oh, watch the extended, that's not how you watch a movie.
but I think this one, it's like the non, just the regular release.
Yeah.
It's still understandable. It's still enjoyable. It's just a fun little movie. The extended one is just extending the fun.
Yeah.
BT
Kinda like
does.
all
It's like
Zack
the-
Snyder movies.
TV show, LA to Vegas. It's about the airport.
Airport, yeah.
Will Ferrell's the producer.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, me and Alicia were watching it. We'd never seen it before.
Is it funny?
Yeah, I thought it was
Nice.
hilarious.
My thing is, Zack Snyder's bad about that, but also Zack Snyder's also a very ambitious filmmaker and takes on very ambitious projects that always kind of
Mhm.
get around 3 hours.
Yeah.
So they have to chop up a lot of shit. Like Watchmen, the director's cut is really great. I mean, the Watchmen movie to me by itself is good,
Mm-hmm.
but the director's cut's better because all that stuff he filmed.
I'm so
How
conflicted
long
about Watchmen.
Is the Watchmen movie? Because that movie feels
The theatrical cut's like
very long.
2 hours and 40-something minutes. The director's cut's a little over 3 hours.
Because I was gonna say
The ultimate cut is like 3 hours.
the
and
ultimate
40-something
cut
minutes.
where people are actually still watching to try and finish it.
I watched it all the way
You're
through
thinking of
once.
Lord of the Rings.
I sat through the ultimate cut of Watchmen. I liked it.
Like I liked Watchmen. It just felt like a very long movie.
But here's the thing: Batman versus Superman, the director's cut is an hour. Wow, 3 hours
1
and 6
hour.
minutes, and the theatrical cut's like right at 2.5 hours. And I'm like, why not just release the 3-hour version? Because they make so much more sense.
The extended
movie.
cut of the second Kingsman movie is almost 4 hours.
Oh yeah, we talked about that
because
too.
he said he's still thinking of like releasing it as like a bonus thing, and I'm like, if you think I'm gonna sit there and watch a 4-hour Kingsman movie, you're absolutely right. Like,
I would watch a 4-hour Avengers movie.
I mean, you could just
As long as it wasn't Age of
marathon the
Ultron.
Avengers movies for like a week, and
Have y'all seen the trailer for the Han Solo movie?
yes,
I have not. I've been on vacation. I have seen none of this stuff. I've been
think
on
it looks
vacation where I
great.
proposed. I was not worried about any of this stuff.
congratulations.
Congrats, guys. Yeah, she sent me a Snapchat after you proposed and was like, he proposed! And I was like, yes! Congrats,
No,
guys.
I thought I was like, oh my god.
But anyways, back to whatever we were talking about.
I'm very
About
excited for the Han Solo
trilogy.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad we have footage now because I feel like Alden and Eldritch, who's playing Han Solo, definitely
His name is Eldritch?
possesses the Han Solo.
Who is playing him?
Some guy. The only thing I know that he's been in was Hail Caesar.
Okay.
But he's playing Han Solo.
Are we going to get to see the original that they didn't want to show anyone? So
We're getting the new one.
I want to see the original.
The clean Millennium Falcon looks great though. It's all white and blue and pretty.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Original Millennium Falcon.
Han Solo doesn't seem like the type to upkeep his vehicle's appearance too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Especially all that shit he goes through.
He's a smuggler. You don't want to have a nice looking ship.
But it looks
No one
great.
stops a horrible looking junker.
The guy playing Han Solo, I think, really captures the essence of the character.
Mhm.
There's a line he says in the trailer where he says, I got kicked out of like pilot school for having a mind of my own. And he says it in such a great cadence that really reminded me of Harrison Ford. And I was just like, oh, I think this is going to be good. It's going to do a good job.
Are they still making a Boba Fett movie?
I don't think so. I think that was the one Josh Trank was going to do, and that's been canceled altogether.
I think that could have been interesting, just because it wasn't just for Boba Fett. I think it was a bunch of bounty hunters.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a movie focused on the Mandalorians would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Zack Snyder's talked about he wants to do a Seven Samurai type movie in Star Wars universe.
That would be great. All right, let's talk about
we're going to talk about which podcast is this? Is this going to be the Black Panther podcast?
I feel this is just going to be the
Water?
miscellaneous one.
Let's do
I know,
Shape
right?
of Water.
Let's talk about Shape of Water.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay.
Well, this will be Shape of Water
This
Cloverfield
is
podcast.
the worst Chan thing we've ever done.
But we're having fun.
Yeah, this podcast is. I'm gonna put in an intro. Just like, I want to apologize to everyone listening to this podcast. This podcast is for us and not for you. You can listen if you want to.
The three of us haven't been in a room talking to each other in like 2 months.
Yeah,
so.
quite some time.
Yeah, so this is basically just us talking.
This is basically
about
us
everything.
catching up.
Yeah.
I guess we all saw Shape of Water after the Golden Globes because it didn't start showing in Alabama.
Haven't seen Shape of Water.
So
me and Lori will talk about Shape of Water.
So how much do you want us to
if
talk
they had showed it near a theater anywhere within like 400 freaking miles, we would have went to go see it.
Yeah.
So not my fault.
Was it not playing in Coleman?
Well, I mean, we weren't in Coleman. I didn't have time to see it before.
How long were y'all gone?
Like a week.
No.
They've been gone for 7 years.
I've been gone a while, man.
I saw The Shape of Water the day before I got the flu. Actually, the day I did get the flu.
I went and saw it after work with a coworker. We were the only two in the theater. It was cool.
There was a lot of people in theater.
At that time, we all went to see Super 8, and it was just us.
No, there was another family in there for a little bit, and then they left.
Oh. Was there?
There were like 3 people in there that just got up and walked out.
I wonder if that was because of us. I didn't realize.
Oh man, I saw Phantom Thread, and the whole theater was just nothing but like middle-aged groups of middle-aged women, and then me, a 23-year-old punk wearing a Beastie Boys shirt. And they all looked at me weird, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just here for Daniel Day-Lewis and PTA.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you, everyone in that theater, including me, swooned every time Daniel Day-Lewis was on the screen.
I've seen Greatest Showman 3 times in theaters, and each time there has been other people in that theater. And I'm talking, this is like weeks after it's been out, and that makes me happy.
When we went to see Black Panther, it was still showing.
Yeah.
It's been showing for like 2 months.
It's just now down to like 2 showings.
It's still down. It's still got a shit ton of showings at Gadsden. So does Jumanji.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jumanji's still.
It's still rolling pretty hard.
I know, because we're still getting views on that views.
At Gadsden Theater, they only
showed for that podcast.
They only showed Shape of Water for like a week.
What
have you been on there since they updated it?
No.
It's great. I love it. It's fantastic.
It's every Guillermo del Toro good movie is like that. Like me and Alicia missed the half a week they were showing Crimson Peak, and so we had to drive like out in the middle of nowhere to this old rinky-dink theater to watch it.
Me and Maggie managed to catch Crimson Peak while it was still showing at Regal. I think that was actually the night or the weekend it premiered.
Oh, that's cool. They changed it to where now you can cancel a check-in or change it.
We went to the theaters, and I forgot I had the movie pass thing, so I still haven't used it yet.
Oh my god. But
I had a vacation fund. I didn't have any problem.
There were 3 showings of Greatest Showman today.
Go to all of them.
I would. You have no idea.
I mean,
I went into Winn-Dixie last night and they were playing Rewrite the Stars.
Really? Crazy.
I haven't even seen Greatest Showman yet.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'll use my movie pass to go in and just watch the opening scene, and then when it goes to where he's a kid, just leave. That's all I wanted to see.
That opening scene is...
Yeah. How many times have you seen Greatest Showman with your movie pass?
3.
3?
You need to at least see the intro will never be the same if you don't see it in theaters.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I like having movie pass because I like the idea that I can see movies multiple times.
Let's go see The Greatest Showman after this.
Don't tease like that, because I legit, you saying that, I'm like, okay, let's go do this, because I'm
not kidding.
I will legit do it.
I can't. I got stuff to do.
Don't be an adult. Come see a movie with us. You were gonna go see a movie anyway.
Yeah, but I gotta go visit my family.
The circus can be your family.
We need to probably wrap up
We need to talk
Something.
about Shape of Water.
Yeah, talk about
Okay,
Shape of
so
Water.
Shape of Water.
I'm gonna have so much editing.
We
to
watched
do.
it. I guess we've seen it after the Golden Globes. I was actually shocked that it got nominated for Golden Globes and Oscars
Yeah.
because I didn't expect it to be that kind of movie that was that good.
Mm-hmm.
And because Guillermo del Toro rarely ever gets any. I think Pan's Labyrinth was the last movie he did that got any award recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Pacific Rim didn't?
I forgot he did Pacific Rim.
Yeah, that's why the second one's gonna suck.
That's
'cause
how
he's not
forgettable that movie was to me. I didn't like Pacific Rim for some reason.
doing it. I liked it. I won't say it's a good movie.
I want to see the first one and I want to see the second one.
Well, the second one.
I think Charlie Day being in that movie was the reason I didn't like it. Because the guy that plays
the boyfriend in Crimson Peak.
No.
Because he's the main guy.
That's the main guy. Charlie Day plays the
sure.
character that is like some kind of scientist.
Is he the one from Torchwood or the one from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Because I can't see him.
I really gotta learn actors' names.
Because I watch
I
It's
don't
Always
know the
Sunny in
Torchwood guy,
Philadelphia
but I
so
love
much,
Ellen.
I can't see Charlie Day as any other person but himself in that show. So that watching that movie, like every time he was on screen, it just took me out of the movie because I just thought it was, hey, it's Charlie running around in this monster.
He wasn't that different than he wasn't always.
He's never any different than what he plays in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like he's in the Vacation remake with Ed Helms, and he plays a rafting instructor.
Jesus.
And he finds out before they go rafting, he gets a phone call from his girlfriend, breaks up with him, and so like he's freaking out the entire rafting trip and angry and trying to kill himself.
What is that from?
Vacation, the new one with Ed Helms.
Yes, because I was like, I know that story. Like, where have I heard this?
Because
I remember that.
he puts him in some rapids and then sticks his head in the water and trying to kill himself. But anyways, we keep talking about other Guillermo del Toro stuff. Shape of Water was really great.
So Hellboy is.
I'm gonna murder you.
And it continues that streak of Guillermo del Toro killing people in the most painfully violent ways. Or not even just killing people, but showing just gross, painfully violent things. Like him dragging that doctor through the bullet hole in his cheek.
Yes.
Him ripping his fingers off.
Those fingers were nasty. I wasn't even mad that he finally ripped his fingers off. I was like, bro, don't.
Like every movie he does has that one gross moment. Pan's Labyrinth has
the knife.
Pan's Labyrinth
That didn't freak me out nearly as much. And Pan's Labyrinth, I remember that one time she cuts him and he's got like that lip, and I was like, bro, it was so funny because it's like, bro, you need to sew that up. And he pulls out a needle. I was like, not right now! Nah!
For real. And then he catches it and he drinks the whiskey and it stank. And you're just like, oh.
The lip. Crimson Peak has the knife and the face.
It's like Crimson Peak has the whole second half of the movie.
I want to see that movie. Really
that was weird because that's the only movie I've watched where I've seen knife violence actually make me cringe. Like I was literally like, oh god.
But what gets me about how Del Toro does it though, it's like I cringe at the stuff and everything, but it's still beautiful. Like just everything he does is just
the
still
most
like
gorgeous violence I've ever
gorgeous,
seen.
cringiest violence.
I mean, I feel it embodies every 2008 emo who used gorgeous as a pun. Like
that makes sense.
Never heard that.
But it's
you
like
weren't a 2008 emo kid.
No, I was not.
It's weird like that because it's like you're so used to in action movies or even horror movies, people like getting killed in such normal ways, and Del Toro always finds interesting ways to put someone in pain. Like when Michael Stuhlbarg's character, the Russian doctor, gets shot by Michael Shannon's character, and one of the bullets goes through his face.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that.
And it's like I've seen movies that are incredibly, incredibly gory, but then Guillermo del Toro can do something that I hate saying just as simple as a gunshot, but still in comparison.
It's like,
but that is more. Oh God, no!
It always lingers on it too, and like because I've seen so many people get stabbed, but Tom Hiddleston getting stabbed in the face in Crimson Peak just it hurt me.
It's like I've been cut with like scissors and a knife, but then a tiny paper cut, and you're like, Guillermo del Toro is a paper cut in the best way.
That's a good analogy, actually. One thing about Shape of Water that surprised me was how sexual it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually surprised that it handled its sexuality in a normal way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing in the movie that I'm ever just like, all right, this shit's getting weird. Like, it's weird, but it's normal. Like, and that kind of just goes to show you how well he tells this story.
It's like, I mean, you know, you're actually kind of rooting for them to be. I mean, not kind of. You are rooting for them to be.
It's like
together.
every scene of her masturbating in the tub, you're just like, okay. And then she fucks the fish man, and you're like, that's the thing. Like, when it was happening, I was like, they're not gonna do this. There's no way they're gonna do this, and they do it, and I'm just like, huh. Like, I was never like, oh my gosh, she fucked the fish man.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm
and
just
she
like,
tells her
oh,
friend, and her friend's like, how? It's like, isn't he?
Yeah,
and she uses her hands to
show how the dick comes out.
Yeah, because
I think that's what did it for me, was that as long as you don't have the other characters in the movie treating it like it's weird, you're not going to treat it like it's weird. Because me and Maggie were talking about that afterwards, that in any kind of real life situation, if you were to tell Octavia Spencer that you fucked the fish man, she'd have been like, ah, hell no. Ooh, like, kind of going off. Tell anyone, they're just freaks out. But she's just kind of like, in the movie, she's
like
just kind of like, oh.
girls, like two females, like talking about one of their friends hooking up with somebody.
It's
like, they're like, oh my God.
She's not at all weirded out that she fucks the fish man. She's just like, how did you manage that? Yeah. And I think that was what made it more interesting, was that no one's overreacting about it. They're just treating it like it's a normal thing.
It normalized things that other movies haven't. Yeah. Like, I've never seen a movie with a main character who doesn't speak. And
deaf, or no, she's mute. That's right.
Yeah, but she's got such a strong voice.
And it's like, it's always, I like the way he handles that too. He handles her being mute, and the way he handles conversation with all the other characters.
The one scene, she looks at her friend and she's like, "No, listen to me." And,
yes, yeah,
and everything. And he's, you know, because he's saying, she's like, "Say what I'm, you know, listen to me," and I'm like, oh my God!
He's my favorite character in that movie.
He was great.
His neighbor, or her neighbor. My bad. Yeah, I loved his character.
He's awesome.
He was very calm for someone who a cat had gotten eaten.
Oh God, that
I'd
scene!
have been pissed.
That scene really got me.
That hit Maggie pretty hard too.
It's like, if you haven't watched this movie, first of all, I'm sorry, because I mean, we're just kind of spoiling all of it. But if you're still there,
if you love cats,
yeah, caution. If you love cats, watch with caution. When a cat hisses, just look away. Just trust me. Once the cat,
I'm like, they're not going to show that, and then I'm just like, it's Guillermo del Toro. He's going to show that shit, and you're going to feel bad.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
It did hurt. I felt it too. Like, I was just like, oh God.
I was like,
But I loved his character. I think out of all the characters in the movie, I felt the worst for his character. Because it's like, he tries, in every aspect of his life, he tries to be the best friend to her as he can. He tries to be the best artist for this ad company as he can, gets rejected. He tries to hit on the waiter and gets rejected. And
God, that hurt.
That hurt too.
Oh my God, that upset me a lot.
That whole scene was so well done though, with him. He reveals his true self in just a single instant, and then any bit of affection he had for that character is just gone immediately.
Yeah, it's like,
I thought that was a great scene.
Which I think adds to it. The main characters of this movie is a mute woman, a black woman, a fish man who is also mute,
fish man, and a gay man. Yeah. And then the villain is masculinity, more or less.
Like, and I mean, and you know, all of those features are stuff that isn't the norm, but is completely normal in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And oh my God, that villain is probably one of the grossest. Like, just his character is so terrible, and every time he chews on a mint, it disgusts me. Like, everything he does
is gross. Yeah, because it's someone made a nice analogy where it's like every moment in the movie serves another moment in the movie, and I didn't think about that because the sex scene between him and his wife, I was talking to Maggie about that, and I was like, did they really need to put that in there? But then it shows such an important part of his character too, because he covers her mouth and tries to get her to look away. And it says a lot about his character. He's a strong, masculine type who doesn't like women with voices. You know, he tries to cover, and then it goes after the main character because she's mute. it's the perfect woman for him.
I mean, he
quote-unquote.
really is the embodiment of toxic masculinity.
And watching him watching his entire ideology of life and manhood come crashing down on him right before his death it's so satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
That whole "so you are a god after all" is so it makes you feel so good to see them all get such happy endings.
Yeah.
In a Guillermo del Toro movie.
I know, right? It's like, I feel the one part, the music number, felt really weird to me.
I loved that.
Like, I mean, I didn't hate it. It was so out of place.
It's so out of place. It's out of place, but and still in character at the same time. It's so weird.
But I think it was you who mentioned that it's out of place to kind of show how out of place these two characters are. And
it's just, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and I was a little weirded out by it, but after it was done, I was like, that was a very beautiful scene. Because it really is great, because it already says she has such a love for classic movies, and such a love for that whole song and dance type thing. And she's just, that's her perspective of love, and so that scene just really shows how she feels.
She's literally trying to say "I love you," and that, oh my god,
it's great.
Crushed me.
It was a great, and that's why I like so much about having the mute character. It was a great way to express her love without having to say it. It's a beautiful scene.
And it was able to bring the connection to the other character because she taught him sign language.
Yeah.
Because you have one character who cannot verbally, communicate, and meeting another character who, I mean, can like through sounds and stuff, but also cannot verbally communicate. And so you see this whole communication on screen, realizing, oh, you don't have to speak to have these connections.
Yeah. Plus, I saw one thing. Someone was talking about how they had a theory. Well, I mean, not even a theory. The movie pretty much confirms it at the end. Her gills and everything. That because she has the scars on her neck, and the theory she talked about. They talk about her being found on a lake shore, and that saying someone mentioned that they were subtly hinting at that she was one of the same race. But since she was found out of the water, she was raised by humans. She can't understand human language, so that's why she's signed. She can't talk. And the scars, are her gills, but they just assumed that they were cuts, so they sewed them up. That's why she enjoys being in the water, because it feels homey. And that's why everyone was like, the ending's not that weird, because they kind of subtly hint that she's one of them.
Yeah.
But there's a scene of her controlling the water on the window.
Yeah. See, I didn't even think about that, because I just kind of, I don't know, I assumed after, because that was right after she had sex with him. And I just assumed that had
something to do with it. Yeah. But it could also make sense, too, the fact that he could heal people. He healed the dude's arm. He healed himself. He gave him hair. He runs his hands across her scars. It heals the gills. And so
I loved that part, because at first I didn't really realize what he was doing, because he was learning to pet the cat. And so he walks over and pets him, and then he lowers his head to be like, okay, now do it to me, because this is a sign of affection, apparently.
It was a cute moment. Him playing with the cats was cute. I thought. I was like, oh, look at him.
Because it's like he learns, and he's like, oh, they're not a threat, because he doesn't know.
He doesn't know,
Well, he's only known aggression anyway, and so.
A cat's not a threat?
Disagree. My cat's not a threat. Right,
I disagree.
And then,
I'll be right back. I gotta pee.
God.
Pause.
Interrupt the
Pause.
podcast.
William's gotta pee.
I'm really bad. I just pee my pants. Okay, and we're back.
And we're back. Back again.
But,
her facial expressions throughout the whole movie.
Who?
The head actress. Yeah, the main actress.
I mean, it would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, her just
Octavia Spencer.
All of the facial expressions she does were the greatest thing ever. Like,
she's a great actor.
Everything from like the little eyebrow raises to the crooked smiles here and there.
The very subtle face acting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, a lot of times they talk about actors trying to act, and you know, but with her, it was there,
Real, yeah.
Yeah, to the point where it's like, oh my god, you're so great.
I know. I'm glad that he won the Golden Globe for Best Director because he definitely deserved it with this movie.
Me too.
I felt like Pan's Labyrinth is ultimately his best so far.
I love that movie.
But this is a really solid movie from him, and I'm really glad that he's getting some appreciation. And maybe he can win. I'm very excited by the Oscars this year, especially the nominated films, because it seems like because this year the Academy's really giving a lot of credit towards the indie filmmakers as opposed to because Jordan Peele got nominated, Get Out got nominated,
That was a great movie too.
Lady Bird got nominated along with
Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
3 Billboards got nominated. Who directed Lady Bird? I know her. She's an actress.
I don't know, but at the Oscars, she was out of all of the different movies and stuff like that. Like Lady Bird was like nominated for almost everything except for Best Director.
No, I think she got a Best Director at the Oscars, didn't she?
She wasn't even nominated for it because when the movie won and the producers went up, they said the only person who should be accepting this is her, and they brought her
Was that the Golden
up.
Globes?
That's it.
Yeah, I knew she didn't get a...
Oh, I'm thinking of completely different things, aren't I?
Yeah. I'm talking about the Oscars.
I love
Greta Gerwig. That's who it is.
Because they were like, the only person who deserves to be talking about this is her, and they brought her up, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, she absolutely got a nomination for an Oscar.
So I tried to watch The Post.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
So my adventure with going to watch The Post was I got in the theater, I ate my chicken tenders and mozzarella sticks and everything. I had got off work. So I get in there, I'm watching, about 15 minutes in, I fall asleep, which of course isn't an uncommon thing for me to do at a theater after work, apparently. Yeah. I think almost every movie I've gone and seen recently, I have like drifted off for a couple minutes. Few exceptions, but so I drifted off a second, woke up, and then looked at my watch, realized I was still incredibly tired, and then realized I'm not obligated to stay and finish this movie. I don't have to watch this movie. And so I got up and walked out. And I felt bad walking out because then I was like, oh my God, what if the theater is only playing this movie because I'm in here?
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into it. Like, was that you? We told you to silence your phone.
I swear it was silence.
But it's like, I wanted to like it. I think if it was a book, I'd probably read the book. It probably is a book. But as a movie, even the parts that they were trying to like market as kind of that suspense and excitement in it just felt like
nah.
Like a girl who, you know, is kind of dressed in like kind of that anti-war hippie look that was at that time, delivers a box and she looks at the guy and she's like, are you, you know, important here or whatever and everything, and he's like, I'm so and so, and she puts the box down and hurries out and you're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And it was some of the paper and info. And so he takes it into Tom Hanks and it's like, look, we got this. And he's like, great, write this. Oh, the other newspaper just did it already and posted it. And you're like, and so it just, I don't know. It felt like it was falling really flat. I'm gonna try and watch it again, but it just felt like it was falling really flat.
I really wanted to watch Call Me by Your Name, but it never played anywhere near me.
I played in Trustful.
No, I never got a chance to go see it.
I haven't watched it either.
Okay, I'm gonna ruin everything we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that there's this Etsy shop called Xenocat Artifacts that makes fantasy-themed dildos, and they made one for Shape of Water.
I've seen this, yeah.
I am 0% shocked by that.
And Guillermo del Toro had to post a thing saying, let me find the actual quote. It is not an accurate representation. Which is funny because I think he said that to kind of get people like, you need to not do this, but all it did was like, well, what is it then?
Release the art.
Then tell us what it is. We want to know.
It's like, we know you got that dick art.
we want you should have just shown it in the movie, man.
Give us the dick art.
Give us the dick art, Del Toro.
And he's like, I really don't want to be, like, of all the stuff I've done, I really don't want to be remembered because of a piece of silicone that comes in two sizes.
Oh my god. That reminds me of this person that I know that I think it's one of the guys I took leather tooling classes from, made a wallet that looks just like the Necronomicon from
That's cool.
Evil Dead. It almost looks like a really pretty stone that you could just set up on like a
Seriously.
mantle.
For reference to those who are listening, I found a picture.
We'll post it on our Facebook.
Oh, no, we will not. I might post a link, though.
I'll post. Yeah, there we go. But it was so
That looks
good
horrifying.
that the guy who actually created the Necronomicon for those movies, like the prop guy, wrote him and said, "That looks awesome. Please don't mass produce that."
Dang.
I was like, that's like one of the nicest cease and desist things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Man, you should see the other stuff in this shop.
I really don't want to.
The fire elemental. That's who fantasizes about that?
There's people
Ooh,
out
that
there
is
for
price
everyone.
too.
It's so strange though, because half of those literally could, if they were made out of stone, it almost looks like art.
I mean,
Okay, so y'all seen
It's all
Cloverfield
relative.
Paradox, right?
Like a grandmother puts it up on her mantle, and the grandkids
I
come
mean,
over and they're like,
she also makes, or he or she also makes,
Grandma."
coasters and little figurines. It just happens to make more money making.
I mean, there's a market for everything, bro.
Indeed.
Alright, so y'all have both seen Cloverfield Paradox.
No.
No?
I have.
Well, Brad and I have.
I've seen
Are we
this
talking about that
trailer.
here?
I've watched a trailer.
Do you want to
for
talk
it.
about
Does
that now, or do you
count?
want to have like a whole longer podcast about it so you can talk about the first and the second one and this one?
We'll just do it right now. I don't really have much to talk about.
We got a whole another hour of recording that we could do.
The film Cloverfield was released, monster movie, J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot. And since then, it has kind of verged into this weird anthology-esque
I don't know what it is.
film series. And the latest was 10 Cloverfield Lane, which came out the night of the Super Bowl back in February, which basically explains what's going on with all these films.
How did 10... Wait.
I
10
think you said
Cloverfield
that
Lane?
wrong.
Cloverfield Paradox.
You said 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, did I?
I was like, 10 Cloverfield Lane came out in the Super Bowl too? Is that the theme they're doing?
No, I was wrong.
Cloverfield Paradox. Yeah, we got it. Go.
Cloverfield Paradox. So basically the film is about a bunch of
This is kind of a
astronauts
really good
trying
one.
to fire a particle accelerator in space to create infinite energy. Except they end up opening a portal into a alternate universe. And since they do that, basically what's going on is that the original Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane have two different threats. The original Cloverfield is the monster, which is aptly named Clover. And the sequel is Aliens. And the information given to us by Cloverfield Paradox basically says that there is a dimension separate from our reality where all of these monsters and aliens exist together. Kind of like a Half-Life, for example. All of the creatures, like I'll use Half-Life as an analogy. Like you have
I don't like using Half-Life as an analogy.
the
It's a
Half-Life
series that will never ever be finished, and that's what Cloverfield
has the Nexus universe, Basically, the aliens, the monsters all exist in one universe, and the particle accelerator opens up doors into multiple universes and creates anomalies. Basically, taking creatures out of this universe and spreading them out amongst different universes. And so far, I believe each film takes place in a different universe. Cloverfield exists in its own universe, 10 Cloverfield Lane exists in its own universe. Cloverfield Paradox exists in two different universes, Universe A and Universe B.
Are those two different universes the same as the universes in the other movie, or those two new
I
ones too?
don't know. I don't think so.
Because yeah, it is interesting because it's so hard to know for sure. But like, the end of Cloverfield Paradox was like mass panic and what do we do? And then the end of 10 Cloverfield Lane was like, screw this, we're going to war straight off the
Yeah.
bat.
So it's like it's different things happening in different universes, different people dealing with different things. Like another question, at the end of Cloverfield Paradox, the Clover from the original Cloverfield shows up on Earth. And everyone's like, oh, so is this Earth from the first movie? No, it's a different Earth, different Cloverfield monster, much bigger Cloverfield monster.
Apparently.
But it's a different Cloverfield monster, it's a different Earth. Basically, the theory is now that there's that one dimension, when the particle accelerator fires off, baby Clover gets transported under the sea in the original time, in the first Clover timeline. Big Mama Clover gets teleported into the Earth that exists in Cloverfield Paradox. Aliens get zapped into 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that was really weird. It's like, how is that anything like the Cloverfield monster?
Yeah. But it's like, the thing is, there's just a bunch of different creatures existing in one universe that are now suddenly spread out across multiple universes.
What if the aliens, because they're all like alternate universes come together, what if the aliens in 10 Cloverfield Lane are just humans from another timeline that got zapped to that one?
I don't think so.
I mean, you don't ever see an alien, you just see their crazy ship.
Yeah, but it looks like the ship is the alien. I mean, it's got that mouth.
So? It's just where they used a, what is it? I forget what it's called. What some people are doing now, like actual biotechnology. Like you can have a computer think a lot easier when it has an actual neural network instead of a fake neural network.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the Cloverfield universe now.
All speculation.
There's another Cloverfield movie coming out later this year called Overlord, which takes place during World War II. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and if that introduces any new threats.
It's so funny because, like, at the end of that, I was like, well, now they have alternate universes. The only thing they need to do now is make the most cliche movie possible and make an alternate reality Nazi movie. And then you text me, and that's what they're doing. It's like, oh my god, really?
He's talking about making a Western Cloverfield movie as well. So it's basically
Cowboys versus Aliens. Haven't we already done that one?
Hmm.
Haven't we already had a Cowboys versus Aliens movie?
Yeah, that movie was garbage though.
Oh, it was okay.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I really enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's a good movie.
I enjoyed
it.
In it. That's the only thing about that movie I remember is her being naked in that one scene.
I don't even remember that.
That's the only scene I remember. Because that movie came out around the time where my Olivia Wilde crush was developing.
God, yep.
Because Tron Legacy had just came out prior to that, and I was like, oh, who is this?
You were wrong.
And I fell in love.
You have always been wrong.
And that was the only reason I went to see that movie. Because I wanted to see Captain America, but you guys were like, no, this movie's got Harrison Ford in it. Or Josh said that.
Oh, yeah,
and so we went and saw that movie instead, and the only reason I was okay with it was because I knew Olivia Wilde was in it. But what I think they're going to do with the Cloverfield movies is that J.J. Abrams keeps talking about that they're leading up to a bigger idea. And I'm hoping, because this would be really cool, where you've got your different movies, you have World War II movie, you got your Western movie, but there's going to be this one big movie where that takes place in the universe that is kind of next door to the big monster universe and has a direct connection. And we'll get something like Half-Life where someone opens the portal and all of the creatures from that dimension come flooding out. You got the aliens from 10 Cloverfield Lane. You got the Cloverfield monsters. Whatever else shows up emerges and takes place and takes over that universe.
I wonder if the things from 10 Cloverfield Lane are connected to the monsters or if they're just something different completely.
I don't know.
There's just not enough information for me to make any like actual speculation.
That's kind of just where my theory lays, is that there's just one universe where it all comes from. This big nasty Lovecraftian universe with all these monsters and aliens, and they've just been unleashed onto all the different dimensions.
It's gonna be like there's a monster type in Magic the Gathering, the card game, where the monsters are from in between dimensions. I wonder if they're gonna try to pull that thing too.
They might. That sounds, because it seems like they have, because there's no like specific direction this franchise is going in. Because 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I wonder if they ever will go in a specific direction, or if it's always just gonna be random consequences. Because
it seems like that paradox. Because both 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox.
Eventually, we're going to talk about what we actually thought about Cloverfield Paradox.
But that's kind of what they're doing. The way this franchise has happened is like there's no like there's no clear direction as a franchise. There's no, hey, let's write a Cloverfield movie. It's basically Bad Robot bought a bunch of spec scripts and have turned them into Cloverfield movies. 10 Cloverfield Lane started out as a script called The Cellar.
And it had nothing to do with
Cloverfield at all. And then they just rewrote that ending.
Such a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Oh my gosh.
Like, without the Cloverfield connection, it would have still been a great movie.
It would have been, yeah.
And then Cloverfield Paradox was a script called God Particle, which basically remained exactly the same as God Particle, the only difference being Mark Stambler's character at the beginning explaining the monster thing, and then Cloverfield monster showing up.
Sorry, I just got really upset about how bad that movie is.
It's not bad, but it's not great.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
I disagree.
The movie thinks its audience is so stupid that within the first 10 minutes, they explain everything that's gonna happen, and then it happens. You're like, yeah, I know. Oh, that's what's gonna happen? It's almost like you told me already. Crazy!
But I mean, that's exactly the point of the movie.
I mean, no, it's like, it bugged me so much that they just straight up told you what was gonna happen.
Because, look, if they didn't explain that...
That was so unnecessary. If they didn't explain it, then it would have been like every other Cloverfield movie. Like it should have been. Where they don't explain anything.
But then that would have been dumb, because this movie was marketed as the movie that explains everything.
That's not my fault, nor my problem.
Because it's like, I hate the idea of just making a franchise of movies where, oh, we'll just do this, but we won't explain what's going on.
They could have easily explained it afterwards.
That'd have been boring, though.
No, wouldn't they could have slowly given you, like, snippets of information? Like, they could have mentioned the Cloverfield paradox. You'd be like, what is that? What does that mean? He didn't have to say, oh, monsters are going to come out of nowhere from alternate dimensions. They didn't have to straight up tell you that. He could have just been worried about the Cloverfield paradox.
They didn't straight up say that. That was more of a theory the character had.
I know, but it's exactly what happened.
I'm not too... I'm not complaining about it much. At least we know what's going on.
I mean, they could have, like, he could have mentioned...
That's all I cared about, really.
They needed to spread out that information to, like, intrigue you during the first half instead of just, like, explaining what's gonna happen, then seeing what's gonna happen. Then halfway through the movie, when they now know, oh, what he said was gonna happen happened, and you're all caught up with the characters again, the movie starts getting good because you don't know what's gonna happen after that.
I mean, see, if you delete the subplot with the husband, then that's what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
The husband subplot's really what ruins that whole thing, because you basically, it immediately goes from, hey, what's going on? So, oh, this is happening on Earth.
That's true. I'll give you that too.
So, I mean...
I think the information would be like... It should have been great if they were watching it with the Cloverfield paradox, and he's talking about it, but he doesn't actually give any theories about what it is. He just says it's bad, and bad stuff's going to happen. And then bad stuff happens. You're like, oh my goodness, what bad stuff is actually happening? And then they explain what it is, and they're like, oh yeah, that's what's happening. They could have... If they just split that up just a little bit... That movie would have went from being like what I think is maybe a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because there's just no mystery of it. And I guess on its own, that's fine. But this is a Cloverfield movie. Like, whether this is supposed to explain stuff or not, you can't just explain it at the beginning. I need that mystery. This is why I went in.
The funny thing about Cloverfield is J.J. Abrams was all about his mystery boxes. And people were always mad that he doesn't explain everything. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to explain everything in this movie. And everyone's like, why are you doing this?
Well, see, I didn't want him to explain everything, or at least not like that. Like, I want the movie to explain things, not some random dude that's not even a character in the movie telling me what's going to happen.
That's the only way you could have explained that and it made sense.
I disagree.
Because if you had the astronauts have no idea what the fuck's going on in the movie.
They could have easily, like the guy was watching that one character was watching it, you could have seen that first half, right? And just like, he's talking about the Cloverfield paradox and like, oh, they're turning it off. And then weird stuff starts happening. And like, what's happening? He's like, this is exactly what the guy's talking about. It's like, what guy? And they brought it back. And not only did you have like this, instead of having this one guy you never see again explain everything, they call back to that guy again and actually use him for something. And he shows them the rest of the video that they showed at the beginning. Okay, that would have worked. Even that little bit would have worked.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's like I was talking about in what I want to talk about in Black Panther. There's that thing called Chekhov's gun, where like if you see it in the beginning, it needs to happen in the end. Like that needs to be split up between like the thing is like if you see a gun in Act 1, someone needs to be shot with an Act 3. You're not supposed to
That's
say,
not
if you
true
see a
for
gun in
every
Act
story.
1, you use it in Act 1. That's not how that works. You can't just use your main plot point at the beginning of the movie and say, well, hope you enjoy the rest of the movie. You need to spread that crap out.
Well, Chekhov's gun's a good analogy, but you can't really apply
Like-
Chekhov's gun to every.
I know, but imagine 10 Cloverfield Lane. If, like, when she's like, is it really aliens outside or not? And at the beginning, you see the aliens, like, oh yeah, there really is aliens out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you'd be like, okay, cool. No mystery, but cool, yeah. Granted, that movie probably still would have been good because it was more about John Goodman's horrific character.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the whole point was whether or not she needs to go out there or not. And it's just like, it ruined the whole what's gonna happen way too early. And then, and this is just nitpicking at this point, because this is what I do. I'm the nitpicker. But I don't think there has ever been a more B-movie plot than information from a disembodied hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was the stupidest thing I have ever seen. So was the other... Okay, so that implies that the other timeline that they were from is in the future because they already knew that the thing was in the guy. And that the guy in the alternate universe was controlling that arm, or was that arm just thinking on its own? Like, what are the... Again, physics are broken, so arms can do whatever they want. Woo, God particle. I don't know. I thought it was stupid. The only reason that I am okay with it because it was Chris O'Dowd's character, and it just fit.
Which I was drunk.
He was
when I
like, "Are
watched
you
it
controlling
the
that
first
arm?" It's
time.
like, "No,
I think that kind of heightened my excitement of the movie.
Yeah, well, I love that, like, he's missing an arm, and that arm's controlling. He's like, are you controlling that arm? It's like, no, because if I was controlling that arm, I'd be flipping you off. See, that is the only thing that redeemed that stupid arm. There's a lot of stuff about, but I suppose that's the point, is that nothing made sense. I just feel like they went a little too B-movie on that.
I feel like it was one of those scripts that would have benefited more from a much more intelligent rewrite and a much more experienced director.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't bad. It's definitely worth watching.
It's because, like I said, the aspect of grabbing a spec script and throwing a Cloverfield title on it could work. If
you gotta adjust it to the.
If you have a good script, and if you get a bad script, adjust the bad script to a good script, and give it to an experience. Because Cloverfield Paradox would have definitely, been better if they would have taken the script and say, okay, this is going to explain everything that's happening in the Cloverfield universe.
They definitely should not have said that. But we need
to actually make it more Cloverfield centered if we're going to do that and get it to. It felt like that movie that JJ himself should have.
Yeah, I think
handled.
He really could have handled that. That movie needed a bit more. It's like it couldn't decide whether or not it was a sci-fi movie or a horror movie.
Yeah,
and
it needed a better balance.
It needed. I feel like it got really close to being like a really scary movie or disturbing movie, but never quite made it. And it was almost like, imagine it couldn't find that fine line between sci-fi and horror like Alien did. Yeah. And I felt like it could have really benefited from being more. What's the word I'm looking for? Disturbing. Like before his arm started moving on its own. It was really freaky the way it was sucking his arm in, as stupid as it looked. Yeah. And like finding the worms and the thing that was in his body and the eye, and see, had a bunch of weird stuff happening. And then like once they figured out what was going on, they kind of forgot that physics were broken and things just started acting fine again until someone needed to die, and then it just started acting up again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's me looking in hindsight. It's just one of those things. Like at the time, I didn't think it was that bad, but like it got to the point where weird stuff started happening, but then once everyone knew what was going on, if weird stuff started happening again, it just meant someone was going to die. Like it's just but
an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm also holding it up to a pretty high standard after 10 Cloverfield Lane too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's probably part of the
10 Cloverfield
problem.
Lane had
that was just a good movie.
The prospect of having a good cast, a good script, a good director.
And there's one of also,
which I didn't know if you knew this, but the director of that movie was the guy who directed
the Portal
short film. Yeah.
Oh man, that's like that thing's only like 5 minutes long. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I did know
So
that.
you got a
actually.
good director, you got a good script, you got a good cast, you got a good movie.
And it's one of those things that, and I hate it too because the type of genre it is, I don't even know what to call it. Like just straight up suspense, like from start to finish, really.
Yeah, it's basically just
And there's so many people where I'm like, that movie was amazing. You'd hate it. It's like you do not want to like Dad's like that. He's like, is it a good movie? I was like, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Don't watch it. You will not like it.
Yeah. It definitely. I mean, the Cloverfield connection is fun.
Yeah, but
but as a standalone movie,
I think if you're gonna do an anthology series, you got to be like, would this be a good movie without the Cloverfield aspect? Like, and 10 Cloverfield Lane was, and I think what saved Cloverfield Paradox is that it was about Cloverfield, and we wanted to know what happened.
Yeah. Because that movie was supposed to be released in theaters, and they sold it off to Netflix.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
I mean, it shows.
That was a good plan.
B movie.
I know everything. It looked great, and the actors were great. It just had like sort of a B plot. There's just a few things they could have adjusted.
Yeah,
but still, it wasn't bad. I'm ragging on it so hard, but it wasn't that bad. It
was our entire podcast. We liked the movie, but we hated it at the same time.
I could have a movie I could not stand, and I will just talk about for days how well it's written, and it's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
because like even if a movie's bad, if it's well written, like I have a respect for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like that one wasn't. There's certain things that it's like that movie is like they were trying to go in for something, and then halfway through the movie they're just like and they just trying to
they just gave up.
They just kind of gave up. Yeah. Granted,
that's
it went from being like a horror, like it almost felt like the original Poltergeist, where it's not like ooh monsters, it's just like this is disturbing and it worries me. And then it stopped halfway through. It stopped being that sort of Poltergeist, alien, disturbing, what's going to happen next thing, to a Final Destination. Let's see how weird we can kill off these people.
Yeah. That's kind of what we did with Teenage Wasteland, where like after the first 3 months of filming, we were so tired of filming, we gave up on trying. But at the same time, us giving up made the movie funnier. And so you have to, if you're going to give up on your movie, make sure it's a movie that would benefit from being given up on.
You give up the right way.
But still, it's still worth watching. I just don't believe the marketing that it explains everything.
It's a very small.
It explains a thing. It explains one thing, and it really doesn't even explain that. It's more of, well, it happened because it happened. You can't see me shrugging, but I'm shrugging.
Ding, ding, ding,
really,
ding.
really overly exaggerated, like
the emoji. No, the one made out of little characters.
And I don't know. And for a sci-fi movie that's supposed to be like, these are supposed to be the smartest people and like on the planet. And for the plot of the movie being like, oh, everything messed up because I forgot that moisture was a thing. I forgot that water makes moisture. Oh no! I was like, really? They didn't. That's why it wasn't working. That's why alternate universes are blowing up, because this dude forgot that the water tanks make moisture when they get hot. Like, that's the reason the particle accelerator broke and the whole multiverse is suffering, because this person that's supposed to be the smartest person on the planet's like, water vapor? What's that? That's a thing? That's weird.
That's like me.
That's what you get for hiring the bad guy from Age of Ultron to be your engineer dude. I could not unsee that. I can't.
Yeah, he's Zemo now.
Who's Zemo?
If you're thinking of the guy in that movie, was the guy that played Zemo in Civil War.
Oh, is that his name? I don't know what his name was.
Yeah.
Which one's Zemo?
The bad guy from Civil War. The one that's orchestrating.
Oh, he's also in The Alienist.
I don't know characters' names. Like, I don't even know what the superheroes' names are in the movies.
You should have just told me it was the mission report
only
guy.
ones I know is Tony Stark, because Tony Stark is Iron Man. Like this, Captain America, his name is like
Steve.
Oh, don't help me.
Sorry,
Steve. See, I wouldn't even gotten that if you hadn't said it. Martin. I got nothing.
That would be a movie.
You remember that time we filmed that Clockwork Orange-esque break-in movie at the trailer?
Unfortunately, yes.
And I forgot to give you direction before shooting.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do.
And so we were just all standing there I'm standing there with the camera and he's standing there. And for like there's like 20 seconds of film and he's like, what are we doing?
He was just really excited.
Yeah, I get really excited when I'm directing and forget what I'm supposed to be directing.
I just remember the horror of Josh trying to stab me. Because he actually tried to stab me.
Oh, yeah, because yeah, that was fun.
I was like, if that box cutter had failed, that'd be a dead man. Because he had a box cutter and then the blade was out and he just straight up pulls it back in like right there and then...
That's the fun thing about filming is me and Jordan both get so excited that we both get ahead of each other.
Yeah.
And we were filming the teaser for Temper, which is also a scene in the movie.
Just like, that's why I'm here. If it weren't for me, you two would never be on subject. Ever.
Ever.
And
You need a third guy to be like, guys, you're supposed to be doing stuff.
I wasn't filming because I was still adjusting the lens and getting the shot, and he starts acting. Because we were filming the freak out scene, and I'm like, I'm not filming, what are you doing?
What's going on?
This is just practice, guys.
That night was fun because like there was a cop in that area that kept circling the street we were filming on. And she came over and she was like, what are y'all doing out here?
It's not the first time we've almost been arrested for something stupid.
It was weird because like we were filming at like 3 a.m. on this empty downtown street at a stoplight.
Mm-hmm.
And I had lights set out all over the road, and because we had to power the lights from the car, so we had all these cords all over the road, light over here, and I'm just like, I hope to God a car doesn't fucking show up, because I've got lights all over the road. We've been sitting here for like an hour at this
If the car did
stoplight.
show up, they probably would have saw it.
The car that showed up was the cop, and
I almost feel a car show up and go, oh, they're making a movie.
that's probably what she was going, like, because she was like, what are y'all doing out here? But yeah, it was very stressful because one, you're filming on a street that you can't shut down because you don't have the clearance to shut it down. So you're setting up all these lights and this camera, hoping a car doesn't show up and hoping you can get the shot done as quickly as possible. Luckily we did.
Mm-hmm.
Which the hardest part was I had to film the car coming up to the red light. And so I had to watch the light and time in my head when the lights would start and stop. And so like it took us like 2 hours to get this right because I was trying to get it to turn red as he's pulling up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got it, but
you can't tell me there wasn't a way you could have just like composited that shot to put like just really
the effort, man. It's one continuous shot.
This is William's art.
I still feel like I could have just like taken no, I guess not. If you had a track that you could put it on, you could have just filmed it while it was changing and then just put
I could have. I didn't have a track. I had a tripod. I had to move it.
Yeah.
But I want my shit going good, Brad.
I know.
I'm a perfectionist. I ain't got time for compositing them. I'm making one long shot
less
scene.
post-production, the better.
Everything bends to my will.
I just think it's funny.
Your name is Will.
Yeah, exactly. If I want that light red, that light better turn red.
Was it on a timer or was it on a?
Yeah, it was on timer.
You're just lucky it was on a timer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have had to have another car to trigger the pressure plate.
Because that's the thing. That's why we went and filmed at like 2 or 3 in the morning because there was no one out there.
This got off subject.
And so I sat on a bench on the sidewalk and I watched the lights and I counted them. And then I'd be like, all right, go, 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 go. Like he's all the way down the road, can't even see me. And I'm just like, fucking go!
You guys need to invest in some walkie-talkies.
We really should. I had a cell phone, but I could have called him.
Yeah, I know, but still, walkie-talkies, you know.
It was I got lucky too because now I'm just talking about filming. Because I was filming one shot from an underpass. And there was lights in the underpass, but you couldn't see into the underpass. But there was a street light above the camera that was on a timer that would come on for a short while. And when that light came on, it lit up the underpass. And so you could actually see in there. And it took us forever to do that because I was trying, what I wanted was I wanted to be able to see him coming into the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a shot where a car drove down. And I liked the way that the car's headlights lit up the scene and lit up Jordan. And so I was trying to get the shot where the underpass lights were on, the overhead light was on, and a car would be coming. And it took forever to get that shot back.
Did you have another car, or were you just waiting for another car?
I was just waiting for another car.
Jesus.
I finally got it, though. It worked. Everything worked out for my favor. I don't direct smart. I direct hard. I filmmake hard.
I feel like, you definitely need a co-director to be like, dude, we can do this easier.
Which me and Jordan are usually directing together, but since he's the main character
that's what I was saying.
I'm having to do everything for me.
But that
myself.
reminds me of back whenever Doctor Who still did Doctor Who Confidential, and there was that God, from like one of the first episodes where like the Doctor grabs Rose's hand,
yeah,
like running
They were
like next to the
waiting for
street.
a double-decker
They
bus.
were waiting for a double-decker bus, and every time one go by, they'd be like, "Go, go, 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 go!" And then they're like, "Oh, something wasn't quite right there. Let's do it again." And they'd like be sitting there waiting for another double-decker bus.
You're gonna be the next Davies.
Yeah. I really am.
Hashtag humble brag. Well,
That's the thing. I enjoy directing, but it's stressful because like stuff like that. When you're like, okay, I gotta have this light on when to shoot, but I can't control this light, so I have to wait for this light to come on. All right, lights on, let's film. And it's like I'm also so specific about things.
I could have figured out how to change those lights if there's a box nearby.
I'm trying to do it in a way that like doesn't get William arrested.
Well, he's shutting down a street. He's already gonna get arrested.
Like I'm trying to.
Not the cop didn't arrest him.
Wow.
But like it couldn't be like I couldn't do one where that was already a car in the shot. I was like the car has to be coming from over the hill and under the underpass for the shot to look good. And so everything had to be very specific. And I'm like, damn.
You really need some walkie-talkies. You could have had someone up there being like, "Hey, a car's coming. Get ready." I'm gonna order some walkie-talkies right now, William, from Amazon.
Oh, can I have one too? Like it won't work at my house, but I just want one.
It's like I want a walkie-talkie that'll work from any distance. That's a cell phone, bro.
Oh my god, like the old school cell phones. God, I think it was Sprint. Their old school cell phones had the built-in walkie-talkie, so you'd hear people walking around and you hear bloop 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 bloop.
That was weird.
Bloop, bloop.
Anyways, we got really off subject.
I'm done talking.
Yeah, we're done
stuff.
talking about stuff.
One last thing. They released the new logo for Doctor Who. They released a teaser with the new logo. It looks amazing. We now have a release date, and it's going to be in October.
Cool.
I'm excited.
I need to catch up. I'm so far behind. I think I saw...
I'm at a point now I don't even care. I just want to talk about the new one. I need the new one.
Forget the old one.
It's like I'm ready for the new one.
The old one means nothing. All right, so that was the weirdest podcast we've ever done. We need to do just a podcast with just us talking.
That's what this was gonna be. I thought.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone will listen to it. I don't care. That's not the point.
That'd be fun.
That's very minimalist.
I like it.
It's good.
Let me see. Oh, that's cool.
I like it.
I like
a
that.
lot.
Yeah, because Matt Smith.
It gives it his own identity.
No, it wasn't. Was it Matt Smith? One of them, they just got more and more elaborate as they went on. They really needed the reset. Boy, I'm not gonna get into that rant. Because I could for hours. Yeah, so that's
long-term goal. We get to do a Doctor Who podcast when Doctor Who comes out in October.
Well, Moffat's gone, so I got a lot less.
That'll be probably the next time.
Me too. Like I'm actually excited to get back into it.
I know, that's so sad.
Did you see?
I'm like new Doctor, new showrunner. Sounds great.
The people doing the visual effects are the same ones who did Blade Runner.
I'm excited about
Blade
that.
Runner.
Their production.
So the alien
quality is
people
gonna
will
go
actually
up.
look like aliens, not just like human culture with slightly different stuff. But we gotta wrap it
Man,
up.
Blade
for
Runner
time.
2049 got robbed at the Oscars this year.
It was ahead of its time.
That movie was the movie of the year.
It's just like,
The original.
yeah, the original was like 40 years ahead of its time. This one's 20 years ahead of its time. 20 years from now, they'll make a movie and people will be like, that was a good movie. They'll catch up eventually.
Man, Blade Runner never gets enough credit or recognition.
It's because it terrifies people. People don't want to think about AIs becoming like real people because that's an actual fear.
They don't like art. No one likes art, Brad. Blade Runner movies are art.
I genuinely don't. I genuinely am wary of movies where they're like, it's art. Because that's what they say about freaking Space Odyssey. And that movie's a piece of steaming pile of gross. I mean, maybe it is art.
Visually.
And maybe it is visual art. But oh my gosh.
Some call it bold and brash.
Visually,
We
that
call
movie
it
is art.
belongs in trash.
Visually, 2001 is art.
Yeah, I've heard it really is, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a very beautiful movie to watch.
It's like, it's one of those, the way it was described to me is like, it's one of those things where every frame you could pause it and you could pause the movie and be like, yeah, I'm going to make that into a picture I'm going to hang on my wall.
That's how Blade Runner 2049 is, too.
See, that's impressive. But I got to end this before we go over.
All right, we're done. Bye.
Oh, wait.
Get off my porch.
We have to tell
My
people.
room, son.
So if you want to contact us, then please
Right.
I have
contact
to pee
us.
again.
Because we're lonely and we're sad and we
There's always water
need
I'm drinking.
we need validation. You can follow us
Hold on,
on
wait for this idiot to
We don't need no.
Actually, this
to
little
leave the room,
Yeah.
making as much noise as possible.
so much noise. So if you want to follow us on our things, because we're sad and lonely individuals that crave attention and validation, you can follow us.
Validation, not attention.
You can you can follow us on Twitter at _nerdom. You can follow us on Facebook at the nerdlykingdom. And you can follow us on the Instagrams at, you'd think I'd remember these things by now, at the nerdlykingdom.
I keep meaning to post to our Instagram. I was gonna do it when I went to see Black Panther, and I have a new phone, and I was like, I don't know the login stuff, so
I don't know if I know the login stuff either.
I got it wrote down
And then,
somewhere.
You can also email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com.
That's
God,
the
it's
one!
been a while since I've done this. I'm like,
Those are the things. I'll write them down on the screen too on the YouTube one.
yeah, we'll have links
and
to
I'll
everything.
figure out. I don't know how you link stuff in a podcast. You just put it in the description and you just copy it. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, seriously, if you guys have seen Shape of Water, if you've seen any of the Cloverfield stuff, if you're a Doctor Who fan, if you're just bored and want to yell at us,
Or if you want us to talk about something specific, we are always open to new
Yes.
topics.
totally,
We always need more to talk about. That way we don't end up talking about what William's done the past couple days for 30 minutes.
Yeah, got a TV show, movie, or anything that you want to hear us
We should do
ramble
more
about
TV
for
shows.
5 seconds before we get off topic? Tell us about it.
It's harder to talk about a TV show because we all have to sit down and actually watch a TV show.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that. That's why you guys need to, rate us. Give us good ratings. That way we can get more people listening because it really does promote us better.
Send William food in the mail.
No, don't do that.
Send him canned goods.
Because, the more...
Like creamed corn
share it.
No cream
and
corn.
potatoes.
Jesus.
Sweet peas.
This is why we get
green
nothing
beans.
done.
You can send potatoes through the mail without an envelope. You can put a stamp straight on a potato.
Man, send me potatoes.
Anyway,
Send me good
email and potatoes. But
I'll give you my address. Send pizzas my way.
like this, rate it, subscribe. Whatever's relevant to the platform you're on. I still haven't bothered to learn them all. But definitely, if you like this, which if you didn't, that's fine. But if you like us in general, tell your friends, get more people listening, because then if we start getting enough people listening, we can actually have enough time to watch TV shows.
And we can have content.
Yeah, content's fun. Anyways,
Send us money in the mail.
hey man, I guess while I'm like, you shouldn't do that, I go, I'm not gonna stop you if you send money in me.
Send me $300+ in the mail every week, and I can quit my job. The enemy of the people, Joss Whedon.
Boo, 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 boo.
Imagine John Cena in a ring who is my challenger? And Joss Whedon steps out from behind the board thing that has all the lights. And I don't know what take my love, I guess a Firefly theme
No,
song
it's
playing when he
literally,
comes
it'll
out.
be like the glass breaking and go, I wrote Buffy.